from GMAT Club, whatever time zone you are in. My name is Brendan Kelly. I'm one of the GMAT Club moderators, and I am here with Tamra Johnson from UC Riverside. I'll let her give her own introduction, but she's here to, as part of this MBA Spotlight, to give everybody an introduction to the UC Riverside School of Business and help us through our application process. So without any further ado, I'll go ahead and hand you the mic, Tamra.
Great. Thanks, Brendan, and thanks to the GMAT Club for this MBA Spotlight. We're really excited to be here today. My name is Tamra Johnson. I am the Associate Director of International Relations at the School of Business at the University of California, Riverside. That is a mouthful, isn't it? I'd like to briefly go through our program, give you, like it says, spotlight on our program. This is our staff of our admissions department. They are there for our students and our prospective students to really help walk them through the process of being admitted into our school. Our international relations team, so the two teams together, we work together to help our international and our domestic students be able to achieve their dreams in getting their MBA at a University of California school. The University of California system, which we are part of, is the best public research institution in the world. We're pretty excited to be a part of it. We are made up of 10 campuses. We have 5 in Northern California, 5 in Southern California, where we are located. I like to just make sure you know a little bit about it because it does open up your network system very, very wide. We have just under 300,000 students in our 10 campuses and a little over 2 million living alumni. The opportunities, the resources are there for you being a part of a UC school. A little bit about UCR. We are actually the fastest rising ranked university in the United States right now. We think that's pretty exciting. UCR is the nation's leader for social mobility. We are ranked #1. This is our second year in a row for that. We think that's kind of cool. UCR is among the top 11% of ranked world universities as well. And we love the fact that we have 2 Nobel laureate faculty members. UCR is also rated as being one of the top universities for your best value and your return on your investment. Okay, we are located in a pretty amazing spot because we are pretty much close to everything that you would want to do. Of course, there's Disneyland, there's the beach, there's the mountains, there's the desert. We are literally about 1 hour from everything. You know, I really like to say I live in the best place there is to live in the United States because I am so close to being able to do so many activities, yet I'm not in the hustle and bustle of Los Angeles, but I'm really close. The other really nice thing about this is where we live, we are close to industry, but we don't pay the high cost of living. So this is a great alternative to be close to the things that you want to do, but yet not have to worry about the cost of living and traffic, of course. University of California, Riverside, this is where we're located. Isn't that a gorgeous shot? We are an ideal location for a world-class business program because half of the goods that enter into the United States actually flow right through Southern California. We are known as the supply chain and logistics center for Southern California. We have room for expansion. Riverside is ranked #19 for best cities in the U.S. to grow a business. We are very entrepreneurial minded, and we'll talk about that a little bit later as well. In addition to that, Riverside was actually named the 14th safest city in the U.S. So not only is it a safe place to come, it is a place to come and really be able to jump into a lot of activities for your career, entrepreneurship, starting a business if you want to do any of those. So who are we? Who is UCR School of Business? Our vision is to be an internationally recognized leader in business, education, and research. And so consequently, our mission is that we will create knowledge through impactful research, we'll unlock potential through exceptional educational experiences for our students, and we really want to foster success in an innovative and collaborative environment for our students. Our values: inclusion, integrity, innovation, and collaboration. We are a top 100 U.S. News and World Report business school. We are ranked as being a best opportunity for minorities, the Princeton Review, and we are AACSB accredited. So a little bit more about who we are. We are represented through 60 different countries with our alumni and our students. We currently have about 420 students from all over the world. All of our programs are STEM designated. Of course, we're talking about our MBA, and we have a professional MBA, and those are completed in 2 years. For our international students, these are both STEM designated. In addition to that, we have our Master of Finance and our Master of Professional Accountancy, which are completed in 1 year and are also STEM designated. We're pretty excited to announce that we're going to be having our Masters of Business Analytics coming next fall, so be on the lookout for that. What does our class profile look like? We have an average GPA of a 3.41, an average GMAT of a 620. We are represented by 49% international students, 51% domestic students, and we are very female friendly. I love that. 42% females. 89% of our students are being employed within 3 months of graduating. So our career statistics are very good as well. What I love about our program is that while we are a very domestic program, of course, for our domestic students and our international students that want to come to the U.S. to get a U.S. degree, we are very diverse. We are diverse not only in our gender, but in our ethnicity. We are also extremely diverse in our undergraduate degrees and, of course, our work experience as well. That makes an excellent environment for students to learn, especially when they go out into that workforce. They're going to be meeting a lot of different people that are different than them, and learning how to work with individuals in the classroom is a plus for them. So some of our program components, which of course this is not comprehensive, but some of our highlights that I wanted to talk about is we do have a required internship. 100% of our students are getting internships in our program, and we think that's pretty exciting. We do have a career development course that is there for our MBA students that really help give them all the tools necessary in order for them to get those jobs and internships that they need. Students can choose between a capstone or a thesis. We really let them design this program around what they want, what they're looking for. And we have weekend and evening classes available for our students in our MBA program. In the first year of our MBA, students are taking 9 core courses. These core courses, for me, I like to say it really does build a strong business foundation for them to be able to catapult their career. So they're learning a little bit of everything. When they go into that boardroom, they'll be able to know what their finance person is talking about, what their marketing person is talking about. In their second year, we have 7 different concentrations that a student can choose from. And we have about 69 different electives that students can take a part in. One of the things that I think is great is students can actually concentrate in more than one area. And so it does really expand their knowledge base. Okay, let's talk a little bit about our faculty because they're pretty amazing. While we have, in comparison to other UC schools, we do have a small faculty cohort. But what is exciting is we actually had 2 of our faculty members that were named in the 40 under 40 in the Poets and Quants this last year. That's pretty exciting. In the UC system, our faculty actually are second in research and publications. And we just think that's pretty amazing considering the size of our faculty compared to others. In addition to that, our faculty hold 8 different editorships in top business journals. And we rank number 86 of total number of publications in top business journals according to the UT Dallas rankings. The other thing that I want to mention here is our classes size are small. So it gives you the opportunity to really get to know our faculty, participate in research with them. We think it's important for our students to be able to really dive into that research. In addition to that, we have the largest undergraduate business population of all the UC schools. So we have TA-ships available for our students, which is a really unique opportunity for you to partake in. Okay, entrepreneurship. That is such a buzzword, right? People are so really kind of enthralled with being an entrepreneur these days. We really believe in entrepreneurship. We have an EPIC Center at UCR. This is to validate and accelerate the transformation of an idea to the marketplace, which is really kind of exciting. Okay, so now let's talk about Excite. Excite is a startup incubator that is led by UCR in partnership both with our city and with our county. Our students get to take part of all of this. We have an entrepreneurship week. We think it's important for students to be able to really dive into how to become an entrepreneur, what it takes, maybe how to start or maybe to start. In addition to that, we do partner with our engineering department to really do some collaboration, some consulting with outside partners. And then, of course, we do have an Oxford Young Entrepreneur Leadership Program where students actually go to Oxford and they can participate in this. In addition to that, we have the International Collegiate Business Competition that really dives kind of more into that entrepreneurship. We have taken first place the last, I believe it is 6 years in a row. Val actually graduated just this last year, and Val started his own startup during his time at UCR as an MBA student with us. He took part in all of this. He was able to get mentored by our faculty, work with staff to really grow his business and his startup. And it's a really great startup, by the way. We have some really, I think, unique opportunities. We have an executive fellows program that our alumni and top executives come and they give back to our students during the year. It is an excellent opportunity for our students to network with a CEO, a CFO of these top companies. Last year, the retired CEO of Visa was one of our executive fellows. So you can see the networking that our students can participate in. They can come and do office hours with them. They have workshops and seminars with them. In addition to that, we have our Economic Forecast Center. Our Economic Forecast Center has California's leading economist that runs it, Dr. Christopher Thornburg. We think that's pretty exciting that he leads our Economic Forecast Center. They do forecasting for cities across the Western United States and really dive into what is projected. Right now, there's a lot of stuff going on with the economy. And we just did our Economic Forecast conference last week, and they talked about the real estate. They talked about how our economy and when it will bounce back, how it will bounce back. Our Economic Forecast Center is also home to California's leading team of real estate market analysts. And so it provides a great opportunity for students and outside constituents to really get to know our school even more through this Economic Forecast Center that we have. Okay, we like to study hard, we like to play hard, and we think it's extremely important for students to experience our culture, but we want to experience our international students' culture as well. So we typically always have a Chinese New Year celebration. We've had some celebrations, Diwali, with our Indian students, and of course we celebrate Thanksgiving with our students so that our international students get to experience our culture as well. We think it's really important opportunity for them to come and not only have a good time and learn about culture, but also have the opportunity to network with our staff and our faculty and each other. We think that's an important aspect, an important stepping stone for them during their program. So another opportunity that we have is our student associations. We have over 450 student association organizations on our campus. Both of our students that are going to be talking a little bit later are part of a couple that are part of our school, our ambassador program, our student association program. But we also have that's been a really great program for our finance major students, Highlander Financial Group, that our students have been given money from one of our alumni to actually do some real market investments. And this was a great opportunity for them to experience firsthand how to invest. The market's crashing. What do I do? Oh, this one's picking up. What should we move? Where should we move this money? So over 450 clubs that you can participate on campus. In addition to that, we have a lot of global opportunities, not only with our campus, but also with the school specific, from trips to China, Vietnam, Oxford, Israel, in the US as well. We think these are an excellent opportunity for students to go abroad and learn during this 1 week or 2 week opportunity to learn from some faculty at schools abroad, but also be able to go to industry and see what it looks like from that perspective, from an outside of the US perspective. So these are great opportunities for our students to take a part in. I talked briefly about our Career Development Center and the class that is scheduled just for our MBA students, but our Career Development Center is there just for our graduate students. While we do have a campus Career Development Center, our one for our students provides many opportunities for students to get individual coaching, workshops and webinars on so many different things, from networking to job interviews. How do I go in and ace that job interview, right? To career talk series and company tours. All of these have led to some really great career statistics. As I said earlier, 89% of our students are receiving jobs within 3 months of graduating at some top companies here in the United States and around the globe. So we think it's important for students to come in and really get to know our Career Development Center individuals. All right, so I've talked a little bit about our program, but I want to tell you it is very easy to apply to our MBA program. It is an online application. We don't ask for a whole lot. We ask for a current resume or CV, one statement of purpose, 1 page, single space, 2 pages, space and a half. We do need unofficial transcripts, GMAT, GRE scores. If you're an international student, we will need a TOEFL or IELTS. We only need 1 letter of recommendation. Our round 1 is coming up in December 15th. And as you can see, those deadlines go from there. What I like to say is apply early. We do have scholarship money. We will look at every single individual once they are accepted into our program for a scholarship. We are extremely generous with our scholarships. And so we want you to be a part of our university and help you with that, getting admitted. So join the UCR AGSM family. It's a great family, and we do call ourselves a family. We are a smaller program, and I think that's a benefit for you to come and really learn more from us. My colleague Keith has been in the chat answering some of your questions. Please feel free to reach out to myself or Steve Keith. Steve is our director, or Keith after the presentation, and we'd be more than happy to help walk you through the process or answer any additional questions for you. So now at this time, I am actually going to stop sharing my screen. If I can figure that out here. And we have some of our students that are going to actually talk to you about their own personal experience. So I'm going to open it up. Vinko, would you go ahead and talk about your experience as an MBA student with us?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Tamra. Thanks for everyone coming out to this talk. Glad to be here. My MBA experience has been really good so far, honestly. I went to UCR School of Business for my undergrad, and I was a management concentration, and I really loved the UCR experience as a whole, and decided to come back to UCR AGSM to continue my education. Within AGSM, I've really been able to learn and grow, not just on an academic and professional level, but also on a social level as well by joining student organizations. During my MBA, I'm concentrating in information systems and marketing. The marketing core class was really good. You get the whole foundation of the marketing discipline, and I think it was really appealing to me. And you'll find that throughout all the core classes. So I would recommend, if you're interested in coming to UCR, to definitely be patient and get that whole experience of taking the core classes, because they'll shape, you know, like what you want to do, and that's how I figured out my personal interests. Like I said, yes, student organizations have really helped me to branch out. During my undergrad, I was one of those people who would just go to class and then like go home right afterwards. So the student organizations, I'm the president of the student association. It's really helped me to just branch out and get to know new people. Yeah, I've worked on, you know, some skills like leadership as well, but really like what I get out of is just building relationships with other people and just being a part of the great campus community, because I really enjoy the student body we have with the diversity. And that's pretty much it for like my MBA experience so far. I'm just starting my second year. I'm a TA and I'm really enjoying it so far. And yeah, looking forward to continuing this great journey with UCR AGSM.
Great. Thank you so much, Vinko. Aaron, can you go ahead and talk about your experience?
Sure. My name is Aaron Saltzman. For everyone, I am a professional MBA student, and I'm actually in my third year. I took my time to finish my degree program. My background is in marketing, so that's what I'm going to focus my focus on. But one of the things that Vinko touched on, which I think is incredibly valuable, is just how well-rounded the MBA program, the course program, especially in the core classes, how well-rounded they are. The courses have filled in a ton of knowledge gaps, and my background not only has been in marketing, but I've worked in a bunch of marketing verticals, including startups. I was a co-founder of a startup that lasted for 5 years. You learn a lot on the ground there, and even going into the MBA program and experiencing those core classes, it fills in a ton of knowledge gaps and contextualizes the outlook that a lot of different departments and you know, a lot of different departmental functions, how they frame their definitions of success in a company. So, for instance, the way accountants view companies' finances versus how marketing would want to approach the same outcomes or the same goals. So it's been incredibly interesting and incredibly rewarding. I'm actually really happy with my decision to go back to school. I graduated from my undergrad actually at UC Davis, which is another University of California school, the northernmost UC school, in 2007. So I'd been removed from the academic scene for about 11 years before going back. It's actually been really great. I've really enjoyed it. One of the things that Tamra touched on was our career center and our internship programs. You know, the what happens next element that you know, I think everyone going into the into an MBA program looks towards. You know, MBA programs are kind of interesting because it's this interesting hybrid of an academic degree and a trade degree to a certain extent. And UCR, AGSM really focuses, it does a really great job focusing on the what happens next after you get your degree. So the AGSM has its own career development center, and that's on top of UC Riverside's career development center. And I've used them quite a few times, actually. I received some resume help my first year, which is incredibly helpful. These are folks who are extremely experienced, really experienced in helping students find jobs afterwards. They've come from multiple universities. They have some incredible pedigrees, and the knowledge and the insight that they were able to share was really, really valuable. The internship programs, you know, one of the things that some international students might have heard of or might experience is the difficulty getting U.S. sponsorship for an internship in the United States, and that is going to be an obstacle, you know, particularly depending on how this upcoming election shakes out. But one of the interesting things that UCR offers is, and Tamra touched on the Excite entrepreneurship accelerator that's out there. Some context behind Excite is it acts as an accelerator for a lot of different industries, but it focuses on a lot of the core competencies, the hard science core competencies that a lot of UC Riverside professors are focusing their research on. So a lot of UC Riverside professors who have these really deep fintech or ag tech, biotech backgrounds, and engineering backgrounds who've created these proof of concepts or these minimum viable products ready to go to market. They go to Excite, and Excite helps them out. Despite having PhDs, they often don't have direct business experience, and so Excite taps into AGSM's talent pool for those who have kind of an entrepreneurial spirit. Within the internship programs, there's one special one called iCore. And if you're an international student and you're interested in entrepreneurship, I strongly recommend applying to it. You essentially you'll spend 2 or 3 weeks in an intensive program where you will help one of the startups build a business. And this is the kind of experience that could lead to a CEO position. It could lead to an entrepreneurship position where you're a partner or a co-founder. It's incredibly, incredibly valuable. So one of the interesting things is AGSM is really catered. I've noticed is catered very well to international students who want to get an American education. I'm a domestic student. I'm from Southern California, born and raised. But I've noticed how many resources are available, not just to American students, but also the international students. Really, no one who goes there feels left out, which has been really nice.
Great, thanks, Aaron. So talking about international students, Amisha is an international student from India. Go ahead, Amisha.
Thank you, Tamra. So as Tamra mentioned, I am an international student from India, and I am currently a second-year MBA student. I'm concentrating in marketing and information systems. So I would like to talk about the faculty a little bit, because I think that faculty at the UCR School of Business is absolutely amazing. So I have had the privilege of taking classes with professors who come from diverse backgrounds. So I've literally had classes from professors who are from France, Germany, Mexico, US, China, India, Taiwan. So like you can see how diverse our faculty is. And I think that the professors bring real life experiences into the curriculum. So they try to promote a culture of class discussions and understanding the concepts rather than, simply learning the definitions. I have been able to form strong professional relationships with a lot of my professors, and they have helped me beyond just conceptual doubts. So they have actually sat with me, spoken to me about my aspirations, career plans, and helped me narrow down on the possible career paths I want to take after I graduate. So in short, if I can say, I'll just say that the professors at AGSM are completely invested in your success, and they're absolutely brilliant. Just to add a little bit on my experience as an international student, I think that the relationships I have built with the professors and the staff and the people all around, I think it's fabulous, because it's a really small cohort size, as Tamra just mentioned. So everybody knows you by your name. Everybody understands you, your aspirations, and is just able to support you in your journey. So adding a little bit on that. So as Vinko mentioned about student association, I am the co-chief ambassador for the AGSM ambassador program. That program is very prestigious. So each year we bring on a small group of students who are the face of AGSM in front of high-level executives, sponsors, donors. The program has actually helped me develop myself professionally, communication skills, and it just gives us plenty of networking opportunities. So yeah, it has been a great experience so far.
Thanks, Amisha. So these are just a few of our great students that we have. I know Brendan's going to be coming back. My colleague Keith is also going to be joining us.
Yes, thank you, Tamara, for the great presentation, and then to all the students as well. Thank you for those insights. And we do have a good 20 minutes, 20 minutes. So I would like to ask some questions that I see Keith is answering well in the chat, but we do have some, and I'll throw them out to you, Tamara, and maybe you can play hot potato between who answers it. But I think a good one to start with is, of course, that the changing environment we're dealing with right now, of course, changes how classrooms interact. I know being in person, there's a specific level of personal feel that you get, and maybe the virtual environment hurts that, or maybe UCR has taken away to improve. And I'm curious to see what UCR has done, and then maybe what some of the students feel has either changed or even been made better.
Sure, absolutely. Thanks, Brendan. So we are, of course, online, as I think most universities in the United States and around the world are. And we did transition fairly quickly in our spring quarter, as the world did. And I know our students have said very positive things. So Amisha, can you address it from a student standpoint of how you feel the online is versus in person, and what you've gotten out of it?
Absolutely. So definitely being online is different from being in person. But I would say that our faculty has tried to maintain the quality of lectures. They are constantly trying to still host the class discussions, trying to bring that, in-person feel, even in the online format. We don't feel ever that, oh, there's any lag from the professor side, because they are constantly trying to give us the same kind of support and the same kind of motivation, and trying to incorporate the same kind of concepts they would have had if we were in person. So I think it has been a great experience so far, and I think they're trying to do their best they can in this situation.
Brendan, you're muted.
Yes, sorry about that. Trying to cut out echo and then cut out my own voice. But I kind of wanted to build on that same question and maybe ask either Vinko or Aaron, how has this online either platform or methodology, how has that affected maybe some of the student organizations that you're a part of?
Yeah, I can take this one. There's definitely been a little bit of like a adjustment period because we're used to having stuff in person, obviously. Some of our large events, when they have 150 to 200 people who show up, like you can't really replicate that in an online format, obviously, or it's very difficult to do. But, we found ways to make events engaging, and it's really about figuring out what students like to do in their free time and what activities they find interesting, desires, so that way, like, more people will show up. Obviously, certain events, it might not have like as great an output as you'd like, and that's unfortunate overall, but we obviously try to cater to the student needs and create events that people want to go to because we're still trying to build those connections with the students even though we're online.
That's a great answer, and I'll pass this question off to maybe Tamra and Keith to start, and then Aaron, I'd love to hear your opinion. And this is once again sticking with kind of the new online culture. I'm curious how UCR has seen the change in recruiting for after college. I know a lot of people are afraid that it would go down with COVID. However, I've seen a trend where it almost is actually increasing because of the added ability to recruit online. So I'm curious from a career perspective what y'all are seeing, and then maybe Aaron, what you've seen in your own progress.
I can start with that one. For me, what's interesting, even answering the last question a little bit, is it's about the students becoming more proactive. So when you look at graduate programs, there's a ton of options, but with MBA programs specifically, I think the students really do what they can do to just get themselves out there, be super proactive, very forward thinking, and very advanced. So with times like these, our students, I think, are some of the best at being proactive, thinking around the situation, and just doing what they can to adjust. So when it comes to recruitment, we're seeing a lot more virtual fairs. We're bringing folks to campus virtually and doing virtual events. I think in November, we have quite a few planned. We had a few this month. So we try to do monthly fairs and just monthly events where folks are coming onto campus. But then also just working with our career team, that's where we try to do things a little bit more one-on-one. So that personal connection doesn't go away because it was one-on-one either way to try to understand if a student may be interested in this, get some exposure into that, and then talk about these opportunities that were through Handshake, through, a number of different platforms that we have already been working with. So now, the interviews are virtual, things like that, but it's still that same personal relationship that we're trying to develop, and that will hopefully develop into a better relationship with that employer or with whomever afterwards.
You're muted.
Are struggling today. But Aaron, is that something that you've definitely seen as well in your MBA?
Absolutely. It's interesting with when the pandemic started, everything kind of shut down, and there were a lot of layoffs, and there was a lot of uncertainty with where the economy was going. one of the trends that I've noticed is the companies are coming back. They don't want to be shut down, and whether that's because ownership and leadership wants, doesn't want to lose their livelihoods, or whether it's that we are figuring out ways to coexist with the existing environment, and we're kind of figuring out workarounds, which we are. Zoom being one of them. A lot of the virtual components are huge, and if you keep up with trends, there are countless articles at this point that are essentially saying on-site office jobs are becoming a relic. They're becoming a thing of the past. We're seeing that. We absolutely are seeing that. And companies if they experience layoffs, or or particularly if they've experienced growth. For instance, there's a few retailers like Amazon and Target that have experienced growth over the last few months. They are recruiting. They want more. They are looking for new staff. They are looking to grow. There's no shortage of jobs out there, and it's simply the environment that's changing. And Keith touched on it. There are more remote interviews. There's more video conferencing. There's more work from home opportunities. But there was a scare in the spring over what was going to happen long term with the economy. But it seems like, particularly in the United States, that the business climate is rebounding, and people are figuring out ways to work in a safer, more productive way.
That's a great point. Thank you. And this next question is going to be a very broad stroke question. So I'll throw it out to Tamra, because I'd like to hear the admissions perspective, but then also, honestly, I think each one of the students could provide their own feedback. But I think one of the big issues that a lot of people have when crafting their application is really finding that personal narrative that defines who they are. I know there are a lot of candidates that are worried that they're not going to meet the exact criteria of what UCR is looking for, but in doing so, they're no longer personal in their own applications. So my question is, maybe for those coming from either an overrepresented pool, or maybe such a unique pool that it's not really in business school a whole lot, or you don't see them getting MBAs, what are ways that they can kind of make themselves an ideal candidate for UCR? What have you seen?
Yeah, thanks for the question. So I think one of the things, and I tell students this all the time, in your statement of purpose, tell me who you are. Tell me what you want. Tell me where you came from. Maybe you had a parent or a mentor that really defined what you were looking for in life because of maybe a hardship they went through. Why do you want an MBA? What do you want to do with that MBA? We want to know who you are. And honestly, if you don't have a stellar GPA or a great GMAT, that statement of purpose can really catapult you into this is a good candidate. I've seen in our admission process a student that I'll just be honest, didn't have a great GPA at all. However, their life experience, their work experience was so amazing that it was like, how could you not admit this student? Because of how they had us get to know them. And so I think that statement of purpose for us is key. That's where we're going to know you more than anything. Even your resume won't tell you as much as what we want to know. I know Keith is very involved in our admissions decisions as well. And I want Keith to jump in on this as well, because I think he will have some good things to say in addition to that.
Yeah, thank you, Tam. So one thing I had said in the chat was that we look at, work experience, we look at leadership on and off campus and academics. A lot of folks struggle to think about what leadership might mean, if that's on campus, if that's in their community, if that's at home. We care about all of those things equally. So really within the UC system in general, but especially at UCR, we really do what we call comprehensive or holistic review. So it means even if your GPA is not as great as you wanted it to be, or you don't have as much work experience as you were hoping for, we're looking for other strengths in your application. So we don't have a set minimum for a GPA, a set minimum for what test score might be needed, But if your academics are really stellar, that's going to help you to be more competitive. It could boost your competitiveness for a number of different institutions, and it just helps you in general. But if you don't have great academics, and that might be where you want to think about adding some work experience to complement, or taking one of these exams, doing really, really well, and then that helps us to see your seriousness about the program as well.
Fantastic. And I also do want to kind of throw it out to Amisha, Vinko, and Aaron, who have all gone through this process semi-recently. The application cycle is a very large reflection period. And I know that that can be challenging for a lot of people who maybe haven't really done any self-reflection in the near term. So do you have any tips for these applicants as they're starting that self-reflection process?
Yeah, I can take that one. I went through a process over the course of a few years before deciding to go to business school. And part of that, where it starts, is to answer the question, what do you want with the degree? What is the degree going to do? How are you going to leverage it? Having an MBA is incredibly valuable. Having that education is incredibly valuable. But just like having the best hammer in the world, it's not going to do much if you don't know that you want to wax some nails. The understanding that why, what do you want to do with that degree, is going to be one of the most important questions you're going to ask yourself. And you know, contextualize this. Tamra, the story that Tamra was explaining sounds very similar to me. I did not do particularly well in undergrad, but I came, by the time I applied to AGFM, I had kind of formulated what I wanted to do, and I personally am very kind of purpose-driven and mission-driven, and I knew that I wanted to help. I wanted to build some businesses. I've done some worked in the startup space in the past, and at the time I was even working with some wineries in Southern California, which, by the way, offshoot, Southern California has a wine country, and it's in the same county. It's in Riverside County, where UC Riverside is, and between the wine and the hospitality that goes with it, it's about $1 billion economy. Just in that individual area. So if you're interested in exploring different industries, Southern California has one of the most diverse industries in the world, in this microcosm, this maybe 100-mile radius. But anyway, getting back to what was going on, understanding why you want to go, understanding why you want an MBA, and this is not just AGSM, this is anywhere. Understanding what you want to do with the degree, understanding what value you're going to derive and how you're going to leverage it is the most important thing. And once you figure out why, I think a lot of everything is going to start to fall into place. Once you have the why, once you have that vision, once you've developed your own personal mission, everything will fall into place. And that statement of purpose is going to kind of flow. I have a feeling for me, once I had developed that out, once I had fleshed that out, I really had no problem putting together all the applications. And I want to emphasize this. I know Tamra and Keith touched on this. You're more than just a sum of numbers. You're more than just a GMAT score. You're more than just a GPA. And I can speak personally from my experience, and also knowing the staff on the admissions team, they view that very importantly. They're not admitting numbers, they're admitting people. And that's a very important quality and characteristic that is, in my opinion, it's kind of unique to AGSM.
Fantastic. Thank you, Aaron. That was a great explanation. And now I'll take a little bit of a 180, and instead of maybe describing how you applied after you were then admitted, I'd like to start with Amisha and Vinko. But what was kind of that driving factor that said, yes, UCR is right for me. This is where I want to go, and this is what's going to provide me with that boost to my future. And then after your responses, Tamra, Keith, I'd love to give you the floor and just kind of give that last plug about what UCR does or how UCR stands out above other programs, and kind of give you that last plug before we finally sign off. So Amisha, Finko, whichever one wants to take the mic.
Sure. So this is a great question. So coming from India, I was looking at universities which are in California specifically, and that was important for me because California is known to be a very diverse state. And other than that, UC system as a whole is highly recognized in US as well as all over the world. So thinking of a university which can be well recognized amongst employers in US as well as India was something which was very important for me. So I was looking at all the UCs, and then I realized that how UCR is so diverse. The faculty, the staff, they have like a special relationship with you going on. And also Tamra, she came to India with her team and she was there to present about the program. She also met my parents. So it was like a very different feeling. It just brought in a personal connection. So yeah, so all of that joined along with all the points which Tamra has already mentioned in the presentation. I don't want to repeat all of that again. But yeah, all of those points and the special connection plus the diversity, the location and everything, that just helped me zero down on UCR.
Fantastic. And then we're coming up on time. So Tamra or Keith, do you want to kind of close out with that last maybe one or two statements where you think UCR is valuable?
Sure. Yeah, I'm going to give pretty much one sentence and then I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Keith. For me, everything else that's been said, we are small, we are a family. And so I think our students really get so much more out of our program because that we are a family. Keith, I'm going to have you culminate it all.
I think even for me, I got my MBA at UCR as well. And I just love the personal aspect of this campus. If you have the possibility, really do some research into different campuses, different programs. I think that you'll be hard pressed to find one that is more personable, has this more familiar and family aspect. So I love that. I think it was great for connections and networks for myself in the area. And we just hope that Tamra, myself, the rest of our team can be as helpful to you as possible in your journey and understanding what program might be a good fit for you.
Fantastic. And thank you all, Tamra and Keith and everyone that joined us. Thank you so much for your description. I mean, I thought you painted a very vivid picture, and I hope that everybody listening and watching today can really take the advice given and also the viewpoint that you shared and really build that into their application to make something that is self-reflective and really paints a great picture. And once again, thank you to our GMAT Club crowd that showed up today asking fantastic questions. And then an additional thank you to Keith for blasting out those answers in the chat faster than people could even put in questions. But once again, I thank everyone. Thank you for taking the time. And we will go ahead and close out now. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Brendan.